Today we are learning Jacobean couching. Just as Jacobean crewelwork or embroidery is named after the era in which it really hit the peak of its popularity, Jacobean couching gets its title due to being one of the more popular stitches used within that style. Keep in mind that, like the trellis and lattice families, for traditional laidwork you'd start Jacobean couching with a base of satin stitch, but for the visual component on the sampler I've left out that step. It's a pretty simple concept. We're going to start with a basic trellis. You can make the distance between the stitches any size really, as long as it's, you guessed it, evenly spaced. The more squares and cross points you have, the more couching you'll be adding on top. Now we're going to go back with some trellis couching. Again, these couching stitches can be whatever length you want, but they should all be facing in the same direction. I find the best path for couching is in diagonal lines back and forth across the trellis. And finally, we'll go back in the other direction, adding a second couching stitch on top of those cross points to form an X and turn this into Jacobean couching. You could definitely stitch each full X one at a time before moving on to the next X, rather than doing an entire couching layer, then adding the next couching layer like I am here. I like using this method though, as it reminds me to keep the top couching stitch facing in the same direction on every X, which just adds to the overall neat and tidy look of the stitch. And here is our completed Jacobean couching. Don't forget to add a border to the section if you wish. In our next tutorials, we'll be looking at crossed squares and layered squares, which both have their basis in Jacobean couching. And we're done!